Howdy folks. Had a lot of folks ask of late, how am I processing my RAW files, my NEF files out of my Nikon? Well, easiest way for me to answer that question is simply create a little video and show you how I'm doing it. Now, keep in mind, these are just the way I do it. Doesn't mean it's the way you have to do it. That's very important. It's just food for thought. Now, when I'm in the digital darkroom, I'm looking for three things: speed, flexibility, and quality. That's what I'm always working towards. And keep in mind, without the quality, everything else kind of is irrelevant. It's got to have that quality to make that beautiful 24 by 30 print. That's kind of like my standard, my benchmark for when things work or don't work. So with that in mind, let me show you how I process my RAW files. What you see in front of you is Photoshop CS5. It's running ACR 6.0 or higher. And this is how I process my wildlife images. All right? So here's the photograph right there. You can see it's the Alaska marmot. I'm kind of proud of that shot. I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to double click. And when I double click, what's going to happen? Seriously? The file will be processed. Okay? Yeah. What's happening is that RAW file is being put through Adobe Camera Raw, ACR. And it is being processed by all the settings in the camera. Boom. Seriously. Okay? I am done. That is it. That is as fast as I go. This is the same shot you can see on the website. Now I got a dust goober. Hit the letter J. I'm going to come up here and go boink. Of course, your computer and program might not make the same sound effects, but I'm going to go boink, get rid of those two dust spots. I'm going to do a Control Save As. I'm going to save it as a PSD. Seriously, I'm done. That's how I process my wildlife images. It's that simple. Again, in case you missed it, hold down the Shift key, double click. ACR will process that image using all the settings that are in the camera. Okay, so that means you've got the settings correct for what you want to do, and it opens it up, and you're done. And seriously, it's that fast. Yeah, it's that speed that I really love. Now I'm running the Dell 6500 with Windows 7 64-bit. I have 8 gigabytes of RAM in the notebook. On my desktop it's 16 gigabytes on a dual Xeon. So yeah, speed is really important, remember? Speed, flexibility, and quality. And so wildlife, it's that simple. And my own standard is, when it comes to wildlife, what you see is what I shot. Period. I don't Photoshop, as in verb, any of my wildlife work, other than you saw removing the dust spots. Now, landscape, totally different. So what I'm going to do now, without doing anything else, I'm just going to simply double click. Okay, so if you want to process or do a save as, you could say in the old days, you hold down the Shift and double click. If you want to actually use Adobe Camera Raw, you just simply double click. Now I'm going to show you the basics. There's a lot in Adobe Camera Raw that I do. I'm just going to give you a quick basics of what I prefer to do. Here's a shot looking over the north slope, looking towards the Brooks Range in Alaska that are covered and shrouded in clouds. First thing I'm going to do is hit Vibrance. Bring it over. Clarity. Yep, a little bit more. Okay. Not a whole lot there. Next, I'm going to come over to the tone curve. This thing is way cool. Okay. Set to parametric. I'm going to bring my highlights up a tad. Yep, just going to make sure these highlights, okay, and the clouds are up there. Now, if there's no clouds, I tend not to do this. I do this with things that are kind of metallic, though. Makes that little specular highlight just a little more snappy. I come over here to the detail of sharpening. Okay, I'm going to put in 65 for the amount, detail 5. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about noise. I'm not going to introduce any noise, anything I'm doing now. Now, if there's any secret, here it is. It comes from my good friend Russell Brown. This one, it rocks. When you open ACR, you're going to see the tab Hue will be the default. I'm going to tell you to go over to Luminance, because Luminance, this is where things happen. For example, the sky. I want the sky down. I'm going to bring the blue, okay, and the aqua. The green, I want a little bit richer. I can bring it down. Okay, and this allows me to selectively change colors. And of course, you have the preview button. That you go preview back and forth. Yeah, you're looking at subtleties, and that's what I like to work with. Now with this, I'm going to bring the drama into the sky. I'm going to grab my split grad. I'm going to bring it down. Saturation. Now, just so you know, if you double click on any one of these sliders, it'll go back to the default, which is be 0 in this case. I don't want any saturation. I want my exposure down a little bit. Change my contrast. Now here's what's really cool. Watch. I'm going to sit there and say new. I'm going to bring another one up from the bottom. Oh, say about that much. No, I'll go a little bit higher. Okay. Now I'm going to take the saturation on this part, bring it up, bring up the greens. Now, you want to see an overall, you know, like what did I do to this whole photograph? Come over to Snapshot, that's the very last one, click on that, then turn the preview on and off. There's the before and the after. Doing a real quick, simple thing, open the image. You'll bring it into Photoshop, save it as a PSD, and I'm good to go. So there's kind of the basics of how I'm processing my RAW files. Again, quick highlight, when I'm doing my wildlife work, all you gotta do is click on the F, hold down the shift, double click, and it's going to do a process it right onto Photoshop with the camera settings. When it does my landscape work, I'm going to sit there and go back into ACR and move the sliders I just showed you. Quick, simple, in and out. Maximum quality, because I'm doing that stuff as a raw state. Speed with a 64-bit and ACR and Photoshop. One program does it all. Thanks for coming by.